All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Danny, and this is the Common Rule Podcast. Well, all right. Today we got a great conversation with local hip-hop artist Mahree. And man, I tell you what, we really dive deep into some good stuff here. We talk about her creative process, of course, the local hip-hop scene, and her experiences throughout. I hope that someone really gets something out of this because it really is inspirational. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And I will leave all the information in the show notes. Please follow her and show some love. And hopefully we all get to catch her at her next show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please enjoy the conversation with Mahree. Mahree, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. Great. As I was just telling you a minute ago, it's nice to have a young lady on the podcast. I'm trying to get better to make it as diverse as I possibly can.
Right.
But, again, thank you for showing up.
No, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. From what you are probably a lot more things in this, and we'll definitely get into that. But, you are a hip hop artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mahree is the alter ego, the persona on that.
Yeah. That is.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I just know what's online.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. How long have you been recording? How long have you been at this?
It's been a while. I would say I started my journey back in 2015. I started to explore a little bit here and there. 2016 is when I really put myself out there with my music to finally it be heard, I guess. That's when I started rapping too. I didn't think rap was my thing because I used to sing back in the day. I used to sing mariachi.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was back in the day. But now I was like, I still want that in me. I still want music to be part of me. What is something that I can just dig into that I don't necessarily feel like it's going to be a challenge for me, and also it's going to express myself. And I was like, you know what? Let's try rapping. That is something I didn't think I was ever going to do, ever. If 15 years later, you would never think that I would be, a rap artist or hip hop artist or anything of that. But I just wanted to explore, that art and start to write down my thoughts, thinking of the industry and how can, let's say, what is the hottest thing going on right now and what are people saying and what is something that you can say and not to be afraid of, So it was just more so getting out of that fear and that comfort zone. And I did that with rap. And I did a song called Get Mine. And that was back in 2016. That was my first rap song that I ever wrote and put it out there. And people went nuts for it. They loved it. And they were like, oh my goodness, you can rap and all this and that. And I'm like, yeah, this is something that I never thought I could do. But, it's just, the mentality of pushing yourself to do it. And the outcome is just crazy, and it's a wonderful outcome, actually.
So you touched upon it a little bit. So what ended up bringing you on to rap? Just it seemed almost the fearlessness of it and the directness of it. Mm-hmm. What aside from that, is there? Because going from mariachi music to rap,
big difference.
Some would say it's a huge leap. Mm-hmm. Other than having a stage persona online, it seems like very little in common.
Mm-hmm.
What got you really, hey, I'm on stage, I'm doing this?
I just feel because when I rap, I feel it's just, I'm expressing myself. With mariachi, I'm expressing, but it's not my words. It's a other person's song.
Okay.
So it's you can sing it, you can feel it, but it's still you're missing that connect with it. So me rapping and writing poetry at the beginning and doing all that stuff, it was just you know what, I need to put this out there. People are saying this is good. My mom, she's always been man, you know how to write music. And I don't you need to put it out there. And I'm okay, well, I mean, that's your mom telling you. Your mom's going to love everything,
Number one fan.
Right. Mm-hmm. They're going to love everything you do. But I never thought hey, maybe I should put this out there and see what are people, how they're going to react. And yes, mariachi was way different than rap. And I rap music. I've always had a love for it. I love rap music. I love women in rap. I love all the artists, because I feel it's just, to be honest, badass to me. You put yourself out there, you put, honestly, your whole self out there. You have people that are going to judge you every day just by the words you say. So it was, I still challenged it with with people like trying to go, like rap is definitely like, people have a lot to critique on it. So I just like, again, with rap, it's okay to put yourself out there. And that is something that I wanted to do for the longest. And it's just like that fearlessness. I didn't want it to hold me back. So I just like went with it.
When you were doing mariachi music though, were you still listening to hip hop and rap music throughout the whole time there?
Yeah. It's like with mariachi, it's more so you want to make your family happy, Okay. You want to make your family happy. I used to do shows. I used to do baby showers, weddings, like stuff like that. And I used to go even perform at this place called La Casa de Mariachi. So I used to do stuff like that here and there. It's just more so a feeling that you want to make your parents proud. You want to make your family proud, and you want to share your roots and where you came from and all of that. But then I was just like, this is, I love it. I love the music, but it's not expressing myself. It's not who I am. It's always going to be part of me, but it's just not who I am as a person. So I decided to just like, let me dig into rap. Mariachi is always going to be there, but rap is something that I just want to try at least so I can say I did it.
Yeah. Is your family, are they from the Jalisco, Guadalajara area? Is that why?
No, I think it's just because my grandparents are like from, Tucson, Casa Grande, all that, so they've always loved like mariachi music, and they've always wanted me to, try that at least. And I did it. And it's just like, I don't know if this is like something I can pursue, Yeah. So now that it's just like, I'm still making them proud, yes. Even though they're like, oh, why did you go with rap music? You still get that. But it's just, it just expresses myself, and, you at the end of the day, you got yourself, and you want to make sure your art is heard.
I love that. What, now you stated, and this is one of the common themes that I like to, express throughout more or less the podcast in the interview process is like, how long were you thinking about going into rap and hip hop? And then when did you decide, bam, let's just record something. Let's just lay down a track.
Yeah. So I started in 2015, and I started singing, try to keep my singing involved still somehow, some way. But I feel like I stated, it's not something that I could have still it's not expressing myself. I want it to be just like that, I wanted my hard words to just come out, and just whatever I was thinking, just state, say it and just rap it. So finally I just got out of my comfort zone, even though the song that I wrote, Get Mine, I thought, people were going to judge it, cause they're like, she's rapping now. Can she rap? So it's like, let's try it, so I just expressed myself. I expressed, everything, every feeling I felt, and all the words connected for me. And then when I did that, people reacted. They're like, wow, we haven't seen this in a long time. This female that is just all of a sudden just rapping out here, she's Chicana, she's out here just doing it, and we don't really see that really often. So like I said, I wanted to it just pushed me to do it. I had all the right people around me. At that time when I was recording that song, I had one of my good friends, he's actually a producer. His name is Panda Bass. And I was recording it with him, and he was just like, the energy was just like, wow, you're killing it. You need to put this song out. We need to get this done ASAP. And I'm like, really? You think you think it's good? He's like, yeah, no, you need to put this out there. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Did that. And then we did a music video to it. I had my dad's car club, all of that. Everybody came out. They supported me. And it was a big hit. It was a big hit. And that's what made me, to where I am at right now.
Nice. Now the support group has always been there for you. You had a lot of great support back at home as far as making that change or that jump. Everyone's on board.
Oh, yeah.
No one was like, I wonder.
I mean, what, I'd probably still like have my nana or something. She's still like, well, why did you go with rap? You know, that's, of course, they don't understand. But like my parents, they're very supportive. They love that I switched and did, what was going to make me happy at the end of the day. When I started, rapping, they love going to my shows. My mom is there, she loves just seeing me perform and give that energy. She knows I'm going to kill it. So she loves it. Yeah.
And I think you alluded to this as far as, you think it was like the very, rawness of it that allowed you to possibly express that side of you. Otherwise than, mariachi music is somewhat conservative in a lot of ways.
It is.
I think. And Nana probably isn't a big hip hop fan.
Oh, yeah, no.
She doesn't have her Snoop Dogg tattoos on or anything like that. No,
not that. No. Yeah. So she's very. So when I switched and did all that, like, she still supports. She wants, she looks at the videos and stuff like that. But like, there's just little things here and there. She's like,
What about the people that went and saw you perform mariachi music? Did a lot of them cross over and start going to your regular shows as well?
See, with them here, like that is something like when mariachi music for me, it was like back when I used to be like in high school. So that like kind of like I left that kind of behind.
Okay.
So I really never got in contact with the people like after that because I kind of like, I went to college and all of that. So, during that time, school was more so my focus, getting my degree in communications and all of that. So I kind of pushed singing and mariachi music to the side and I really didn't tap back into it. And then when eventually back, like I said, in 2015, that's when I was like, well, let me see if I still got something of that, because this was my first passion. Music was always my first passion. School, of course, it's going to get you somewhere in life, but music was always the number one. And I was like, well, let me tap back into it and see if this is something that, that I still got and I still want to pursue, if it's still there for me. And then, once I did that, people like, they loved it. So.
Just out of curiosity, what made you study? And I'm very interested in, of course, college grad. But what made you study communications instead of music?
See, I was definitely going to try to do music, but I just feel like studying music, and even though I love it, the whole aspect of like you got to learn this way and this way of music, and more so like, oh, the notes, you got to learn this and that. And it's like, I'd rather not learn it. I'd rather just do it, like I'd rather just, do it on my own, figure it out on my own, learn it on my own, because at the end of the day, like you're exploring that by yourself. You're doing that by yourself. So when somebody's trying to teach you, like, the art of music and stuff, it's like really like, okay, that's their expression of art. But what is my expression? What is something that I want to do, based on, what I feel, So I decided to not go to that. So I wanted something where I can write a lot. I always have a passion for writing like short stories or stuff like that. Like I always used to love writing. Like English was my favorite, like literature was always my favorite. So I just, decided to do something that I knew that was going to take me far in life. Plus it's going to have that aspect that I'm going to need, especially with communications. You got to learn to communicate well with others and stuff like that. So I wanted that, I felt like that was me. That was something that I needed in life. So I did that and then I got my degree and I'm still pursuing music. So, I had both the best worlds,
So you graduated college, and I think I want to kind of get this out there too, because I think it's important for people in their creative process to you didn't give up on this quote unquote dream.
No.
Just because you got a legit college education and going to go get a legit job.
Yeah.
I think it's important. And I think you're the greatest example, I think, of what we can tell people of what I want to personify is that you don't have to let go of your dreams.
Exactly. You don't.
And while it might have been in the back burner during college for you, it seems like you got out of college and you said, hey, let's just see what happens from here on out. Yeah. Now, again, no regrets after going to music and saying, no one's giving you any shit saying, hey, what you're college grad or what are you doing with this?
Right. And I never had that because I felt like, I'm going to have my degree. Plus I can do what I want in life, especially even like ASU, like, cause that's where I went. I graduated from Arizona State University. And they even like pursued me with my music. They even asked me to perform for them and stuff like that. So I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm here going to school for something so different and they want me for my music. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it really is such a compliment. It's such a big deal to me. And when I performed for them for ASU, it was like, oh my goodness, like you can do both. You can really do both. And no one should stop you on that. You can live your everyday life. You can live your 9 to 5, but as long as you go home to something that you're working towards your passion, it's like the biggest thing that I'm, right now what I'm on.
And on that, I think, what would you say is the most important, how should I say, let me just rephrase it. How important is it you to still have a creative outlet despite probably at one point going into someone who has a cubicle job and has a 9 to 5? Right. How important is it to have a creative outlet?
Yeah, you need to have, I feel like you need to have one. Whatever it is that it is, you have to have some sort of thing that it's, it's your escape from reality. Music is that for me. I can go to my 9 to 5 job and right after, I'm doing a podcast here and speaking with, about my music and stuff like that. As long as I know that when I get off of work, that I'm back into K. Mahree. That is my passion. That is something I work for every single day. And, anything to go towards my dream, I'll invest in it. I'll put everything into it.
Now, and I get the sense on this, and knock on wood, I want to ask is that even if you don't, because we know we're going to make it big, right? We're going to do it. But even if that wasn't the case,
right?
It's still, you still have enough. You're not starving.
Right.
You're not paying the rent because of this. You are still within your financial means and reasonable to be able to keep doing this as a legit creative outlet without having to ever have to give up and say, oh, this is just a hobby or this is real life or this is, this is something that I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you can keep doing this in one way, shape or form for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And is that something that you really think about doing?
Yes, I think about that all the time. And that's the whole reason why, I went to school and I made such that accomplishment here. Because, everything can happen with your dream. You won't probably go far, and it's okay. That's fine. At least you have something to look back on. You have hey, I did this performance. It's something I can show my kids later on in life. Hey, this is where I performed at, or this is where who I met, during this, and these are the pictures, and this is my creative, process and all that stuff. I have my mark, in this world, and that was my, that's all that's enough for me. I don't have to necessarily make it big or, make it big in Arizona or be a top person in Arizona, because that's not what I strive to be. I strive to be, myself every day, just to show up and do my work, my passion. And, if people love it, they love it. People don't like it, it's okay. It's not for everybody. And I learned the hard way with that. But again, it's, my passion. Even later in life, if I one day, my kids want to ever do music, I'll be like, hey, pursue it, always pursue your dreams no matter what, because that is your mark in this world.
Now, when you take us through your creative process on this. So you have a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
again, I want to reiterate, where do you find time to create? You go home, and my whole thing is like, instead of watching TV, you're working on your craft after that, right? To keep yourself sane. So, like, how do you go about writing a song from, not necessarily from front to end, but let me ask this specifically. Where do you draw your inspiration from in order to start a project?
So everything, honestly, it really depends on the day that I have. So, I mean, of course, when you work that 9-to-5 job, it's hard that you got to keep on, doing another thing. You got to use your mind on something else. You got to think your creative process on that. Honestly, I just think about, if I do this song, it's going to take me far from where I'm at right now. This song is going to be the next one, or this is the next song that's going to get so-and-so to hear it, or this and that. It's like, I always think of that, to make this song bigger than the one before it. So that's my process. And when I think about doing songs and stuff like that, but, because it is hard when you had a long day at work. You don't want to do anything after work, but like I said, your passion, you need to fuel it. You need to keep it going. So, I mean, I don't care if I have to spend, all night on it, or I have to think about it at work and start writing little lyrics here and there. As long as I know I'm pursuing some little time towards my passion, I mean, this is what it is. Like it's honestly my dream to do it. So I continue to do it.
Where did you draw your original inspiration, or your original hip hop inspiration from? Who were you listening to? Were you like, yeah, okay, that's my dude or my girl,
right.
rapping?
I mean, it changes here and there. So I normally, who I look up to, a lot of people have little things here and there about it, but I love her creative process. I love Nicki Minaj, but again, that's like in the recent years. But I would say, from when I was little and all that stuff, I would say like Missy Elliott, like Little Kim. I love Little Kim. I used to look at her and I'm like, wow, like she can do all that, and she's being judged for it, but she can do it. She does it. So, I mean, there's like her.
She's no snitch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's her. I mean, there's like Lauryn Hill. There's a lot of people that I've looked up to, but I would say for within the recent years would be like Nicki Minaj. I would say she was the one that to think creatively and put things together that normally people wouldn't think of and stuff like that. So I would give her credit too.
Nice. I think you went back a little bit, took it for me nostalgic, and I love that it's again, not too many female artists in that genre get the kind of recognition I think that they should, even though they're probably, in some cases, I would argue they're better rappers than the dudes out there making the money, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
Have you felt any pushback? You can grab it and pull it.
There we go.
Oh man, that sounded bad on the radio. It's the microphone pulling it closer. Dirty minds. Have you felt any pushback or anything bad from the community as far as in Phoenix about like, oh, she's just a girl, what can she do, this, that, and the other? Have you had to work that much harder?
Oh yeah, you definitely have to work a lot harder, especially being female here. Oh my goodness, I've encountered so many. I would say haters. We can say haters, but they're not women. They're men. Men don't like women who rap. I mean, there's people that do, of course. There's men that does show love, of course, but then the ones that are, behind the scenes talking are the ones, that they're guys. They're guys that are doing it. Because I really honestly don't experience like females hating on other females. Is more so like an empowerment, because there's really nothing else like I mean, we're females here. You know, we shouldn't be hating on each other. We're going through the same struggle. We're going through the same thing every single day. Now, for men, they don't understand that. They don't understand how hard it is for a woman to be out here expressing herself, and they judge it, and they'll judge every line that she says and spits and all that stuff. They're gonna judge it. They're like, "What? That don't make any sense." Like they'll find something to say about it, and I've had that experience. You know, like a couple of years ago, there was like a female cipher that we all did, and of course, the only people that had the time and day, you know, and energy to were men. They, you know, they even went down to our looks and how we looked and what we said. And it's like, okay, like, do we do this to men? You know, do we sit there and say, oh, look at how they look how they dress, look how they express themselves? Do we do that to men? And we really don't. We listen to their words, but they attacked how we all looked and all of that. And it's just to me, I'm like, okay, this is something that we're not trying to be judged on. We're not even trying to be judged. We're just trying to express ourselves, and we're getting judged on that. It's like, okay. So I did a song. I remember I did a song right after that to express, you know, about that situation. And it's just that, and that's kind of what I love about, you know, about things like that, because you get to express that energy somewhere else. You don't have to fight back or say anything back. You just put it into your music and you let that anger, you know, come out. And that's honestly when I write my best music. It's when I'm angry.
Yeah, I was just about to ask how you deal with that, because obviously as a dude, I don't deal with that that extra layer of critique.
Yeah,
that comes with being a woman. So I'm ignorant to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now you have this extra layer of critique, and I was about to ask how you deal with that. And you just go out and write songs, or what is there something? And this is probably a terrible question, but is there something that emotional that you have to be able to either block out, or do you absorb it to use in your songs?
Yeah.
How do you funnel that creativity into the next project?
Yeah. So honestly, I use it as fuel. You know, I'll sit there and read comments and, oh, this and that about her, you know, stuff, little things in here and there. But one I think about, I'm like, well, look at me and how I'm putting myself out there. They wouldn't dare to put themselves out there, for one. But I am. And of course, when you put yourself out there, you're going to get critiques. You're going to get people saying opinions that you don't need. But it's okay for me. Like that's what I signed up for. This is what I know what comes with music. So I honestly use it to fuel. And I love it in a way, because that is when I'm able to express how I'm feeling at that moment. And I can listen back to like that song or anything. I'm like, wow, yeah, I remember when I was mad and I wrote this song, and yeah, it sounds good. Like it sounds great still, you know, because I can always go back to it and stuff. But, you know, it is fuel. It really is. But, you know, there's times where, you know, if they like try to knock you down on your looks or something like that, you're like, okay, like, yeah, it gets to you. Or like, okay, why do you have to attack how I look? Or why do you have to attack how she looks, or this person next to me? Like, why do any of that? You know, that is not cool. But again, it's what I signed up for, you know. But again, I don't sit there and fight back. I write back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, touching on what you just said there, as a woman, one, were you already prepared to take on that sort of criticism? And two, as a woman, did you already have a way to deal with that criticism before you? Because again, women go through this like on an everyday basis, from what I understand. But were you already prepared to take on this mountain of bullshit from men?
I would say yes and no. I mean, at the beginning, I had to get tough skin. Like I had to really grow tough skin, honestly, because I used to fight back. I used to like write back to people like, what? Like this my stuff is what? You're crazy and stuff like that. Like I would literally fight with people back until eventually I'm like, you're like, you don't need to do that. You really don't need to fight anybody back. You don't need to write back to people because this is what they want. They want to be noticed by you because you're actually doing something in life and they're not doing anything. So that's when I had to really put myself into that, like, okay, so this is not a me issue. It's their issue. So it's okay then like this has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with them. Because they're the ones that are miserable. They're the ones that are not pursuing their dreams. And it's kind of sad because they're not, doing what they want to do in life. And they have to sit there and express their energy and hatred towards a person that has really nothing to do with it, Yeah. So I learned that way, that thought process of everything. So once I started thinking like that, that's when I was like, okay, so somebody says, oh, she sucks. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. But I got like 10, 15, 20 other people that love it. And that's all that's fine with me. I'd rather have them rocking with me than one person.
Yeah.
They're just talking stuff.
Now that's from the people on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. Within the industry itself, is it a little less offensive, or do you still have to jump over through hoops in order to please some of these people?
Honestly, like I used to care about like the industry and trying to get certain people's attention, like, oh, this person works with so and so. If I were, do this song, then I stopped with that. I stopped trying to push myself to that limit. Like I wanted to do music for myself, and if people like it, they rock with it. They do, because I feel like once you put yourself out there where you need other people's approval or you need other people's opinions and stuff like that to listen to your song to put out there and stuff. You don't need that. If you feel like you want to put that song out there, you do it. You put that song out there. If you feel like that's expressing your art, and your feelings and how you feel, because nobody else is going to judge it. You should be the one to judge it,
Yeah. And I was about to ask you about that. When you write, you don't write for pop music. You don't write for a man. Mm-mm. You write for yourself.
For myself, yes.
How important is that as like the Instagram of equivalent of getting likes and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, there can be, it's really important to me because, when you put yourself out there, you just have to express yourself. You just gotta. I really don't care about the likes and who likes my music and who wants to rock with my music. I stopped doing that. But because I'm expressing me, like it's my art. It's like Mahree, it's her. What is something she's going to say today? This is what she's feeling today. And when I do that, 99% of the time people are going to love it, so that's what I normally do. I just, I think for myself, I think, what do I want to say today? What is something that I need to say and get out there that I haven't said before or something like that? Or, just stuff like that, that what pushes me to keep on creating and writing and just expressing things that I never said before, just keep on, continuing on with it.
Yeah. Now, as a hip hop artist, and Prof was here a couple of days ago, and I asked him, now Arizona isn't let alone Phoenix isn't the biggest hip hop hub in the world.
Right.
Of course, but it's moving forward. You feel that it's moving forward?
Yeah.
And what would you like more to see from the hip hop community in Phoenix? What do you think is the bottleneck of keeping it?
I think the biggest thing in Phoenix right now is people don't like to see, when it's with everybody, like honestly, anybody's city, like where you're from, they're not going to love you because I did another radio show and they stated like, it's not because they hate on you, it's because you're approachable. They know who you are and they've seen you, like they can touch you. They know you, like, hey, look at this so-and-so. I just saw him the other day. Like, look at him. He's trying to live his dream and stuff like that. It's not about hating. It's more so that you're approachable, and people don't like approachable. They want somebody that they can't get to, So I think that's the biggest problem in Phoenix, that's why we're not showing love, because that person, they posted something. I just saw them yesterday. It was whatever, that's just what it is. It's that I think that itself needs to stop. We need to support each other. We need to put our, we're putting our art out there to be judged and all that stuff. So we just got to make sure, that people, share it, that's it. That's all you got to do. Share.
I think it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just talking to someone about this not too long ago, yesterday, as a matter of fact, how for how big Phoenix is, it still has a small town mentality. And in a lot of ways, it acts like a small town, exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
And I would the funny part is, like, because you're so approachable, it would seem to be you should have more support.
Yeah, you would think.
Instead of like, oh, I saw him at the grocery store. I saw her at the grocery store, sort of thing. So I find that, I think that's just true. It seems to be true in a lot more creative community, whether you're a photographer, a painter, or sculptor, that you really need to be someone that, like you said, that it's unapproachable.
You literally have to do that in order for you to be put out there. There's people that I know that are unapproachable, they made it. There's one, like, for example, I went to high school with she's now a big singer now, but I think it's because who you let into your life, like who you associate yourself with, for one, and who you market yourself with. I mean, that has a lot to deal with. But one of my choir friends, like she's a big artist now. She's, going to Grammy Awards and stuff like that, because I feel like she's just unapproachable. Like, not in a bad way, but in a good way. She's unapproachable because she made her way to the top without needing any of these side comments, these people on the side, trying to bring you down. Like, oh, I saw her last week and no, she's nothing, whatever. Like, no, she's up there now, because I feel like it's just for her not to be, so easy to get to. She's loved. She's, looked upon like, oh my goodness, she's amazing, as a, for example, like for me or something like that, which is no big deal. I'm good with that. I'm willing to meet with anybody who shares my music. I'm very approachable. I'll definitely go. And that's the thing though. They know I'm right there. They know I'm gonna, oh, that's K. Mahree. Oh, she performed this, I saw her this time, and this time she performed for this. Yeah, she's cool, whatever. That's what, what we got to deal with. And, and people really, and they don't want to see you make it farther than them, if that makes any, sense.
Yeah. Which begs the question here, and this is a terrible question to ask, but in order to not exactly make it big, but maybe to further your career, is that something that you would change about yourself, is stop being approachable? Or is that, part of your personality where, hey man, make or break it, I'm going to be cool to everybody? Is that something that you think about?
I think about that all the time. I think that's why now I wouldn't say I'm always, I can't sit there and say that I'm always on the scene anymore. Like, I'm not really doing shows as I used to when I first started music. I used to do tons of shows. And I felt like, I just, when I started to do that, it just takes away, like, people just saying, oh yeah, that's K. Mahree, that's her. And now I've been like picking and choosing what shows I want to get on, and it's like, no, like it's just me wanting to make sure that when I do shows now, I want to make sure my song list is on point. I'm going to perform. I don't want people to hear the same thing they've been hearing for the last 5 years. I always want to think of something different to put out there. So I feel like doing selected shows here and there gives you that time to like really think about the process and what you want to put out there. When you're doing shows regular, oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. It's, you get more of that. Because you're approachable. You're getting all, we see you at every show. We see you doing this and that. Yeah. So now I just pick selected shows, which is not a bad thing, because I think there's people that it's been working for them, that they do a lot of shows and they're getting up there now. But for me, wise, I already did that. And now I'm just like, I want to make sure that my craft is ready to be put out there, and people, it's like flawless. Before it was just like, oh, let me just put this out. I just did it yesterday. Whatever, let me perform it. Now it's just like, okay, let me really think of an intro song that's going to grab a person's attention. Like, honestly, it's like writing a paper. Like, what's going to grab this person's attention? You know, what is going to keep the crowd keep on being interested in you? So I think of that now. Well, and I think about, okay, what about the last song? The last song is always the important song, you know, the one that you want them to remember, you know? So I think of like, okay, this is the song that I need to put at the end. Like, it's always a plan, you know? So that's the way I do things now. And, you know, I like it. You know, I feel like when you do selector shows, more people come out to you because they haven't seen you perform in a while. So they're like, yeah, I'll go to you, you know, go see your show and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think that's just, for me, it's working for me.
I'm glad you said that because I think that translates to just about every genre of music. Like, hey, when you first start out, I think it's great to do as many shows as you can because you're working on your set list.
Yep.
And then you're working on your stage act, which no matter what genre you're in, it's always not just necessarily, you might not sing and dance at the same time, but you feel comfortable on stage and that shows as well.
Yeah.
But as you start getting better, and people are like, oh, I caught that show, you know, last Tuesday at the, you know, whatever. And then you're like, okay, and now you get more selective. And then you start, okay, now you put out not quantity shows, but quality shows. And I think that's important as far as a growing act to be able to do that. So now you do put a lot of thought into your set list.
Oh, yeah. And I'm the one making it too. So I'm the one that makes my set list. I think of here and there. It comes down to the little things and this and that you want added to your set list. I all have that like planned out. So yeah, I start off like, okay, what is a song that's going to, let me look at my catalog. What is going to be a song that's going to grab the attention of people that don't know who you are, that never heard a song from you, which I'm like, okay, or what type of audience I'm going to perform for. You know, I think of that and I'm like, oh, I have certain songs that are going to get this type of audience and this and that. You know, okay, you put that next. You know, what is a song that you want people to know you by? Or even like, you know, they'll go back to like, hey, I remember when you did that song. Like, there's people that tell me like, I have a song called Get Mine. Not Get Mine. What is it called? Watch Me. I have a song called Watch Me. See, I make so many good songs. So I have a song called Watch Me, and there's people like, yeah, I love when you perform that song. It just hypes me up, you know? And I'm like, oh, like, thank you. Like, I noticed that a lot of people like that song, you know, towards the end when I'm about to end my set. So I stick to what, you know, what the crowd likes and what they feel is what brings the best out of me. And that they continue to watch, because it can be easy to watch a show. And I'm not being like saying anything about people that, you know, that put just, you know, any song out there. But there's times where I go to shows and people are just performing. I mean, you know, they're not really putting their stage presence, you know, to use. They're just standing there, you know, just letting the song play and stuff like that. I more so think about, okay, I need to walk this direction. I need to walk this direction. I need to stay in the middle. I got to make sure I'm looking at people like who are paying attention to me. Like it comes down to all of that. And it's crazy because you got to remember your lyrics all at the same time. There's just so much that's going on at the one moment for you, you know? So it's a lot, but.
And I don't know if you remember, you might be too young for this, but there used to be a dance duo called Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. And, you know, they were talking about how great Fred Astaire dancer and this, that was. And they were like, well, Ginger Rogers did the same thing, except in high heels and backwards. And so I can imagine that when you put that much thought process into it, you almost, because again, it's a really male dominated industry. Yeah. Your show needs to stand out.
Yes.
As far as from me outside looking in order to kind of grab people's attention. So you do a different set list every single time for the venue, for the people, how you feel?
Yes. So most of the time I'm making a new set every performance.
Never the same show twice.
It's never the same. It's never the same. I'll grant it, like if somebody likes this one crowd loved that song so much, I'll make sure, okay, we'll make sure, I'll maybe add it to my next set or maybe the next show after that. So I always do that. It's never like, oh, let me just, you know, play this set that I've been doing for the last 5 years. Like, go ahead and do it. No, like it's always different. And normally what I like to do, I like to challenge myself, and I'll even create a whole new brand new song 2 days before a show.
Yeah.
But I know, like, you know,
yes.
But it's going to be like a attention grabber song that people haven't heard of or anything like that. Because I don't want people to hear the same old music. I want them to hear new music that I'm performing, and they're going to be like, what? I didn't hear the song yet. What is it? Where's the song at? This and that. So and I love that feedback. I love when people do that, you know, 'cause that's how I know I'm doing my job right.
I mean, it sounds maybe from somebody that doesn't know anything about, that doesn't go to shows as much. I want to clarify that. I don't think it's, I'm recording a new song just for this set. I don't think it's narcissistic. I think that you care a lot about what your crowd thinks, and that
yes,
at one point I think is something that a lot of bands and musical acts can learn from, is that some of us go to, you know, you might play 6-7 shows a year, but if you have the same set list and not a new song, you're gonna get like wondering, like, well, what are these guys doing?
Right.
But you are one of the acts that hey, I just wrote this song, check it out. No one's heard this before. This is the first time I play it live.
Yeah.
It's a treat for them, and especially the supporters that haven't been there.
Right.
I think. And you get a good feedback from the crowd that way.
Right. And I mean, that's how I'm, you know, most of the time that I get ready to do a new song, I am like, well, let me perform it and see if this is a song that people want. Because I did that with my song called Watch Me. I wrote it, and then I was like, well, let me perform it, you know, and you always get a different feel when you perform it. And when I performed it, people loved it. They were like, oh my God, that song. Yes, I love it. You know, keep that. And I'm like, okay, so, you know, what are my next steps from here? Let's promote the song. Then bam, we'll go and, you know, start getting a cover art for it. It's all down to the cover art. It's all down to, okay, when do I want the release date of the song? And then when do I want to do the music video? How do I want to plan the music video to express, you know, this type of song? So it's always a constant. It's not just like, oh, I just do a song and, you know, you like it or you like it. It's literally, you got to think, okay, you're going to put that one song out, but you have so much behind it, you know, with the song that, you know, that people don't even know about. You know, they don't know that what goes on behind that one song. And it's a lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of money, a lot of time. So, and just to put that song out, you know, and I love when people love it, you know, that's all I need. I don't need people to pay for it or, you know, do any or streams or this and that. I'm like, as long as you love it and you watched my hard work and my, you know, effort to put this song out there and express it to you guys and you love it, that's good. That's enough for me.
Nice. I'm glad you said that because so many bands nowadays, and actually not just bands and music, but in other genres as well, people think that just because they spent all this money on something that might be mediocre, they deserve to get their money back for whatever reason. Just because, hey, I spent all this money recording it and I'm performing it to you. Why don't you go buy the CD? Why don't you go buy the download? I mean, wait, does anyone buy CDs anymore?
Yeah.
Or, you know, support us in this. And, you know, the thing is, that could be a crap song that nobody wants. And somebody feels a little entitled because they spent all this money for it.
Right.
But you've taken the approach of like, hey, if you dig it, fine. Yeah. If not, move along.
Right. Because regardless, you can't think about, you know, in this game, you can't sit there and be like, oh, I spent so much money on this song and nobody liked it. It's like your business, honestly. You can't expect like everybody's going to buy what you put out there. You can't expect that with everything that you put out there. You know, there's going to be one song that everybody's going to love, and there's going to be that song that like, yeah, it's just a song, you know? So, and that's fine. That is so fine. That is okay with that, you know? But as long as you don't give up, that's the biggest. When people like put their time and energy into their craft, they're like, oh, nobody's buying my music. I suck. What's going on? All that stuff. And it's like, no, you don't suck. And I can't even say that the song sucks or anything like that. There's people that's going to love one song more than the other. But as long as you don't give up and you don't stop writing and you're putting yourself out there, don't stop that. Because when you do stop that, then you're losing yourself to the thought of your mind thinking that people don't like your music or people don't want to listen to your music. You're losing yourself to that. You can't think of that. You got to think like, oh, okay, we know it's okay. Not really people that didn't like that song. It's okay. All right. What can I do better, with my next song? What is something that people grab to, or, hey, this song is, like, especially if you don't want to spend so much money and your time and energy, you want to make sure that, that next song is going to be a song that's going to express yourself for one, 2, people are going to love it, and again, if they don't, it's okay. Third is just, like I said, just make sure it's something that you love and that body of work is something that you're proud of, at the end of the day, because there could be somebody that people are not proud of their work, but they put it out there still, So at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you love it for one, and that you're excited to put it out. Because if you're not excited to put it out, I mean, it's going to be the response we're going to get from people,
Is this the mentality that you've had about this approach the entire time, or did you learn it along the way? Is there something that taught you how to do this, or you've always thought this way since the beginning?
No, I would say no, because it's not something that you go into this industry thinking like, yeah, I can, any song that I put out there, everybody's going to love me. Like, no, you got to learn the hard way. Like, there's songs that I put out there that I'm like, why did I put that out there? I didn't really that didn't do so good either, So I'm like, it's, you got to, like I said, you got to make sure you love it at the end of the day, that you maybe 20 years later in life, you go back to it and you're like, man, I love that song still. Like, that's still a good song,
Yeah.
You want that energy. You don't want a song that you go back to like, yeah, that song's okay. You got to make sure whatever you put out there that you're going to love 20 years from now or 30 years or whenever, you want to show people later on in life, like, hey, look what I did back then and this and that. So I think that's really important. But for me, again, you have to build tough skin. You have to learn, when people are critiquing you, don't take offense to it. Sometimes you can learn from it. There's people that say, you say this too much. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't say that too much then. Maybe, maybe I am saying that too much. Like maybe you're, people, and it's not to hurt you, it's just to help you, think of other things to use besides the same lines, the same thing and stuff like that. It just makes you think like, okay, I already said that. Maybe I should think of something totally different. So that's what I do with every song now. Like I make sure it does not, have the same meaning or same words from the last song. I want to make sure I'm like just pushing myself to the next level with every song that I have.
Now, with that said, is writing a song, does that come easy for you, or some songs easier or harder, or?
I would say really like it is both, honestly, because there's times where I can sit there and be like, man, I can't think of anything to write. I can't sit there and, write a song. I don't know why. Maybe I'll come back to it. That's with writing and doing all of that whole process. But there's times where I hear a beat and I'm like, oh, I already know what I want to write. Like it can be an instant, like with all my other songs, like I put out there, like I'll hear a beat and I'm like, all right, bam, I already know what I want for the hook. I already know what I want to start for my verse. I want to know how I already want to come in with the song. Like once you have that, oh, you're good. You just keep it rolling. But there's songs that are like a little bit harder, like especially like slower songs for me are kind of hard for me, to be honest. That's something that I feel like I need to be a little bit better at. Because sometimes I'm more so grasp more to like the beats that are more fast paced, that they're more like jumpy and more like just I'm more of an energy type of rapper. Like I love energy where I can just, rap, saying all crazy things and all that stuff and jump to it and all that stuff. But more so the slower songs and talking about like, I don't know, like life and stuff like that's a little harder for me. And I would love to eventually, put that vulnerable side of me and put out there like, well, what things I had to face to get to where I'm at and stuff, like my journey and like little things and that, eventually I would like to rap about that. But I feel right now that is my struggle point. And then right now it's more so just hype music and putting like, all this stuff. So eventually I just want to go into that area. And I feel like that's my biggest struggle at the moment. And eventually, that's something that I can overcome and put more music of that, more personal type songs out there,
Yeah. What, now for when those times that you can't think of anything to write, what do you do in order to continue writing or to keep the creative process going? Do you think even harder, or do you think even less, put it away? What's your process in that?
So normally what I do, sometimes I'll just like, sometimes I'll be like, no worries. Sometimes what I would do, I would just, either you can leave it alone. You don't put, because when you push yourself to do a song, sometimes it doesn't come out that great. You have to let that creative juices, all of that stuff, for it to just naturally come to you. Don't force it. So, but if, cases like that, there's times where I'm like, oh, I can't think of anything. What do I do? Oh, okay. Let me look back to all my favorite rappers. Let me look back to their energy. Let me look back at, what did they say during this time, or what during the song, the type of song I'm trying to do. Let me look back to what they're saying, and like little here's and there's, I don't like it has to be like the one, like they can say one word and I'm like, oh, yep. I'll, think of something that, that relates to that word, or not. It's not that word, that same thing that they're saying, but it's going to relate to what they're saying, So I try to do that, and hopefully that, creates more energy for me to write more and stuff like that. But normally what I like to do, I just, I'll write what I can write. If I can't finish it, tomorrow, I bet I'm going to have something better to say. And that's what I usually half the time, it always works out that way.
Do you always write by yourself?
Yes, I literally lock my, it's so weird how I write, but what I do is I lock my door, I turn off all the lights. I don't know why I do that, but I turn off all my lights. I put on my little stereo on, connect my phone, and then bam, I'm just in the process. Usually I'll even put my blanket over me or something. It's just so weird how I do it. I'll put my blanket over me and I'm just like, all right, let me just start writing. Like, let me think of things here and there. Because I feel like that's just my that's my space. That's my personal space. That's where nobody can come in during your creative process and invade it, or invade what's going on at that moment. It's just you by yourself with your phone, just bam, just writing, and just you and the beat. And that's, I feel like that's the only way I can write. What's challenging for me is writing in a room with other people around.
Okay. Yeah.
So I haven't tried that yet. Normally I'm already prepared. I'm already prepared for a song. Like, and everybody knows that with me. I normally when I do record, I like to already know my song. I already like to memorize it and all that stuff, because I feel when you're reading off a phone, which time and time I look at my phone here and there, but just to get, what did I say? Okay, perfect. Go back. Start rapping again. What I feel best for me is when I already know my song by heart. That's when you're able to flow better, especially when you're rapping and you're able to it just comes naturally when you already know your song and you're rapping it. It's just, the words are just falling perfectly onto the beat. And that's how I normally like to do my music. I normally already have it prepared, already done, and ready to go. Now writing with with other people around, I haven't done that yet. I haven't experienced that yet. I mean, I feel like, since it's my space, it's my creativity, it's my everything, literally. It's kind of hard for, to put yourself, have other people hear it when you're still in the creative process. So it's I'm still not comfortable with it just yet, and that's something eventually I would like, to get to. That's something I need to work on still. So I can't wait till I can do that,
Do you make your own beats?
No, I would love to, honestly,
okay.
if I had the time and patience to do it. Because I mean, it really takes a lot just out of you when you are sitting and writing. So I honestly applaud those people who can even produce their own beats. Like that's talent. That's you know what sound you want, and it based on the sound that you got going on, and then bam, you already think probably of the lyrics of the type of song that you're already doing. So I'm pretty sure that process is a little bit easier because you already know what type of song that you want this song to be, So I think that, eventually I would love to do that. I mean, if I was taught, if I know how to do it, I would do it and, and have the patience to do it. But right now it's just send me a beat and I'll rap to it.
So you work with someone, do you have like a favorite person that makes your beats for you or?
Right now I work with, who majority like I've been working with. His name is Doc Beats. He's done 2 songs for me, like, the last 2 songs that I put out there. And I love his beats, his energy, his everything that goes, into those beats is just like, it's so me. It fits for me and it's so easy to write to. I always think about that when I meet a producer and I listen to their songs, and honestly, I think that would be the biggest compliment is like, I already know what to write to the song because you made it that easy for me. I'm already connected, like, for my last song called Watch Me, we were like listening to just beats. He was just showing me a bunch of beats like on his computer. And then I heard the beat to that and I'm like, and I started rapping. Like I started like, oh, I want the song to be this. And they're like, well, dang, like that's quick. Like, you already know what you want the song to be, like the name of it already. You already know the name of the song. You already know the hook. Like, yeah, because it's that easy to write to. And I honestly love working with producers that is so, when you listen to a beat and you're like, man, that song is just bam, so easy to write to, and you're able to express yourself quickly. You don't even have to really think about it. You can just, you flow with it,
Are there songs that, and I asked Prof the same question too, but are there songs that you write just for you that you've never shared for anyone, or do you basically put out everything that you do?
Normally what I do, with my songs previously, like, I don't know, I would say I put out everything that I write most of the time, because when I'm writing, I'm making sure that that's going to be a song that I'm going to love to put out there, that people are going to love it, or any, they don't have to love it, but that I know that I'm going to be happy to share it with people. I haven't had that chance to write music where I, write it for myself, or, just sit there and like, oh, maybe I shouldn't put the song out because it means more to me. I haven't had that experience just yet. Most of my music, I normally put out because I'm excited to share it to people, show the world what I've been working on. And most of the time, half of my songs do make it, people do listen to it. But I haven't had that experience where I just write, a song for myself, or just write it for, for my family or anything like that. I haven't done that just yet, but I will. Again, that is something that I would love to do, where I don't have to necessarily put it out there, that I can just keep for myself, So hopefully I can get to that, and do that.
Is there a common theme to your music, or overall maybe your lyrics, or maybe just a complete concept that that runs through everything?
Yeah. So my concept most of the time is a person who, which describes myself. Like, you don't need somebody to define who you are. You're a hardworking woman. You're getting your own money. You're getting your own things in life, what you want. You don't really need a man to do things for you. You can do it on your own. You can get it on your own. So most of my songs are all like that. They're more so about women empowerment, empowering women to better themselves, to love themselves, to make sure that they're they don't need anybody to define them. They don't need anybody to pretty much say, oh, like if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have got there. You don't, or you wouldn't have that. It's more so like you get it on your own. You got it on your own. you continue to keep on being that type of person, and that's all literally the music I like to put out there is this women empowerment type of music.
Do you think people are really grasping on to that concept? Do you like the feedback that you're getting on that specific? I mean, aside from the awesome beats, the rhymes, and the performance, are people catching on to the message the way you want them to?
Most of again, it's I have a lot of male, attention. A lot of males love my music as well. I mean, again, and as to earlier we were speaking about hating, but there's women. I want to make sure that they hear my music and that they're the ones loving my music, because I'm a woman myself. A man can't relate to what a woman does and goes through on a daily basis. This is what she does for herself and for her family and all that. So I write for the women that want to better themselves. I want to put themselves out there, that want to start businesses and stuff like that, that want to keep on, touching the sky and all of that. I write music for women to keep on continuing being badass women, literally. So that's what I love to do. And I feel like women, they love it. Every time I perform it, any songs consider, women empowerment type of songs, when I perform them, they're like, I love that song. They'll start dancing. I've had people that, went on stage, start dancing with me and stuff like that and all that. And it's like, you're like, wow, you love my music. This means a lot to me. And especially when I get out, done with the show, I'll go down and greet with people and say, hey, thank you for coming, or thank you for loving my show. If I never met you before, thank you for coming up to me to compliment me. And most of them are women. They come up to me like, oh my God, you did so good. That I love that song. And there's people that have even told me, hey, my daughters look up to you. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Why? Why do they, and then they tell me, because you got everything. You don't stop. You keep on going, and you put your music out there that it's so wants us to keep on continuing to do things, and that at the end of the day means so much to me, that I can inspire other people to keep on continuing to live their dream, or to keep on doing whatever they love to do. That's my biggest accomplishment, honestly. And I love that. I love when people come up to me and tell me, hey, my daughter listens to your music, or hey, I love your music, or I've been listening to you for years and stuff like that. It's crazy. What? I've had people that I'll start rapping one of my old songs and I see them rapping it. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Honestly, I can't even say it. There's just really no words when people are just starting to they rap the music that you put out there, that for that one moment you were just stuck in your room, just writing in the dark, and then you put it out there and they're rapping it. So it's wow, it's crazy. It's crazy.
The connection is real.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Do you think that might just be the secret to why you're never going to stop doing this? And, I think why you should encourage others to also pursue their dreams is that the connection, that even if you just connect it to one person, right, it makes those long hours worthwhile.
Exactly. And that keeps me going, honestly. The people that one of my friends, she owns a boutique, and she was showing me her daughters dancing to my song the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. It's just the littlest things. You can have a rough day at work, I trust me, I have rough days at work. But when you go home, and that sense of somebody listening to your song, or hey, I've been or I shared your YouTube video that that you just got done doing here, or let me put that out there and stuff like that, or look at my daughters dancing to your music here, look at, it's wow, this is why I keep on continuing what I'm doing, because I can, people love it. They love me. They love me, and I love them, to be honest. I love that they do that, because it's very hard, especially in this industry. There's, you can give up very easily on your dreams. And that's the thing. You don't want to give up. You don't want to give up on your dreams. You just want to keep on continuing with that. But honestly, I love looking at stuff like that because that just puts me in a better mood. I think about like, wow, well, you know what? This is me, and look how I'm impacting people. Like this is crazy. You know, this is why I want to keep on continuing what I'm doing.
And I'm glad that that connection exists on here. It makes basically all the haters and the negativity. Yeah. Again, we kind of touched on this, but the negativity is something that you dealt with very well. Yeah. It seems like you've basically been able to at least deflect it away on there. And even today, you're still getting negative feedback from people and you know, the haters and stuff. I haven't experienced it lately. And I really haven't, to be honest. So I don't know if it's because I just don't pay attention like anymore, like to that part. But most of the time, people they're showing me love most of the time, and I'm glad, you know, that's where it's at right now. Like as opposed to when I first started. When I first started, I think that's when I received the most hate. And I think that's when it bugged me the most too. When I first started with, you know, doing music and putting myself out there. Now it's just like I don't think I can take my energy or put myself out there. Like I don't think I can sit there and like really listen or look into people's comments about what they think of me. Like I don't have the time to do that, for one. And I really don't care. But honestly, it's you got to develop tough skin, honestly. Now, a lot of, to touch on a little bit on your college educations, I think a lot of people may or may not realize that in my opinion, some of the best hip hop artists are college educated. KRS-One's college educated. People don't realize that actually Flavor Flav is college educated. Oh, really? Yeah. Chuck D, of course, is college educated. And these people who carry messages with their music that are at the forefront. And a few other people that, when I'm not going to go through the whole list. Yeah. But how important do you think it was for you to have a college education to enter? I definitely could go into like probably using certain words and maybe a vocabulary becomes easier to use as a rhyme. But overall, there's things that you learn from what you study, or little things in here and there that you might want to add to your music. So there's like a couple of songs I put out there, like I used to, study Chicano, Chicano studies. I used to do that as well. That was my minor. So what the communications do, there's really not much I could apply to my music, but my sense of like, wanting to bring my culture involved into my music. There's things that I've learned. And so there's times where I even add it to my music, like, like, let me add this, this to this piece of that. From what I learned here, and let me have some sort of connection with it. As long as I'm able to do that, and put two and two to like put both of my worlds together, it's honestly it's a smart idea. It's a good idea to do it as well. But yeah, honestly, being in college, it was stressful, especially during the time when I was I'm still rapping, but when I'm, you got to write a paper, plus you got to write, your lyrics. So it was tough, but I think that the most challenging for me, when I do receive like the most challenges, that's when my best work comes. So I can be stressed all day about like a paper, but I know that I'm going to write a song at the end of the day, and that song is going to be the best song I ever wrote. And that's how it plays out to be. And when you were, when you were still in college, or when you first laid down that first track, you knew that was going to be a great song. You knew that was you knew that you liked it first, right? Yeah. That's what, and again, we've talked about that was very important. Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, you got the bug, you got the spark to get creating on that. Weird question. Looking back on it now, do you think even if that first song was meh, whatever, would have still pursued and tried to perfect your craft? Is that the kind of person that you are? I mean, it seems like you keep saying you always look to write the best song you ever have.
Oh yeah.
But in the beginning, it seems like you hit a home run at your first at bat.
Yes. So it looks like, that's exactly what happened. When I first wrote my first rap, and I put it out there, people like, they jumped to it. So obviously you like, oh wow, so this, people like it. Let me keep on continuing with it. But I think even if that song wasn't a hit, I was still going to do music. I still was doing, I was still doing music even before that song came out. So, eventually I would have got to that point, but it came sooner than what I expected. So, I mean, that's even better, but, I was still going to keep on going. I was still trying to figure out what my style was at that time. I was still trying to figure out what type of rap, how to, what type of rap that I can go for, what are people's gonna, because there's different styles of rap. So there's gonna be like West Coast, East Coast. Obviously, I would consider myself more of like a West Coast, like, Southwest type of rapper here. Because I mean, that's where, I grew up here. So I stick to that type of genre here. And so I think that's what fits me the best. And when I found that, that song to put out there, that beat and everything, and, obviously I'm receiving love from, New Mexico, Texas, Nevada and California. Like, they're like, whoa, like, because I mean, obviously I'm sticking to that type of style. And they're like, wow, like this girl, like this is West Coast, she knows how to do it, all that stuff. So, like you said, it was, you hit a home run your first try, with that. And then now the hardest part is, how do you keep it going? Like, how do you keep the momentum going? And that was probably the biggest struggle with me, after you make such a good song. Okay, what's going to be your next song? Like, how are you going to top this song? Everybody loved it, so still to this day, everybody talks about my song called Get Mine. They're like, nice. Oh my God, Get Mine. I'm like, that was the song that really pushed me to my limits. Yeah.
So speaking of keeping the momentum going, what are you working on right now? What's the next project?
Right now, what am I doing? Okay, I have a lot going on right now. Okay. So we have, obviously we just got that song, Million just dropped, and we just shot the video with that. And with that video, I wanted to especially being a featured artist on it, I wanted to make sure that our part and my part, like, we're going up a level now. We're artists now. We've been doing this for quite some time, we respect each other's work. So let's put our creativity out there. So that's when I decided to have dancers involved. Yeah. And do that part. And because I never thought I would do that in millions of years, dance and rap at the same time. But I did it. And I wanted for it to be different than all the other stuff that I put out there. And I even told Prof, like, this is what I envisioned. This is what I want. He loved it. He agreed with it. He was telling me his envision, what he thought of, what he saw. And I'm like, I loved it. Let's put it all together. Let's put all our stuff together. And that's honestly my favorite part when I can create with another artist. Yeah.
I can imagine that a collaborative effort like that. Even the video is so well shot, so well put together that it was amazing. Now, Prof was talking about, like, when he goes in the studio, and you mentioned this too, that you guys basically memorize everything, and you guys are really streamlined when you get in there. It's efficient. You guys go in there, lay it down, and you're done.
Oh, yeah. Because I don't like to waste other people's time, especially artists that are, like, paying for studio time, and they're the ones that want you on that song. There's people that they don't even, they don't care about that song. I care when people come up to me and say, hey, I want you on the song. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm down. Let me think of, let me make sure that this song's going to be worth your time, your energy, worth your money, all of that stuff. Let me make sure I consider all of that and put that into my song to make sure we're going to make a hit out of this. And I did that. And I wanted to make sure, like, even the video, I'm like, we got to make sure this video is going to be seen. We got to make sure this is something that people are going to click and watch. Like, it's a whole process. And I even told him that, like, this is something we gotta, make sure that, people are gonna want to see, so we all our creative minds came together and he was telling me his idea, and I'm like, I told him mine, and it was just.
Yeah, but you added an extra element onto yours. You have straight, legit choreographed dance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much time did you guys put into that, or again, does the dancing come easy to you?
So dancing does not. I struggle with dancing. I'm not a. I even told my choreographer. I said, no, I don't know how to do all that. He's like, no, we're gonna push you to do it, and I'm like, I don't think I can do it. He's like, no, you're gonna do it. I believe in you. It's, again, it's something that you feel like you can't do, but you can't do. But I'm like, you can do it, as long as you practice, and as long as you keep it, keep on doing it and doing it over and over again, as many, times for you to get it. It's going to look like you know how to do it, So that's what we did. I had bruises all over my knees and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, it's so hard work that you put into that people don't even see what you go through.
Yeah. Again, backwards and in high heels, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that was, I'm not trying to, and this is going to sound a little like a backhanded compliment, but I was really surprised how well put together that video was. And it's locally produced. No one phoned in their parts is what I'm trying to say, is like everything from top to bottom was legit, from the choreography to the performances, to the editing, to the visual aspect of the whole thing. It was legit. I mean, I was really surprised that it was a local thing.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, is it easier to collaborate? Probably, again, going to Phoenix being a small town mentality. Was that easier to put together, finding all the different artists behind the scenes as well to work together on something like that?
Oh, yeah. It was honestly so easy because we all get it. We've all, even with my dancers, they go through the same thing. A lot of them, like, they don't get love, like, this thing, the way you would think they would get it. There's a lot of people that think, oh, I don't want them to be better than me and stuff like that. So when you have a group of all these people that are like tired of all that, and you're just ready just to work and you're just ready to kill it, I mean, that you're just going to create nothing but a, success there. You're going to create something that's going to be like, wow, like we actually did this. For all the times people said that, oh, or this and that or whatever, like we actually put ourselves out there. We did our hard work and our energy, all that stuff. We put it all together, and look how, people are loving it. And that's all that matters. That people love that what we did together. We put everything, all of our ideas, all of what we imagined, we actually put it and brought it to life. And that's, I hope I have that another experience like that again, with with other artists here. That was my first time, experienced that with another artist. Like, I haven't really, been with or even worked with an artist that, wants to think of, their ideas and my idea and put them together like that. Like, this was just amazing, to be honest.
I think that would be great, not just for everyone here, but for Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably the easiest way to show a collaborative effort from top to bottom, and the performances that behind the scenes.
And not to mention, we're from the same area too, so that even was like, that was a big deal. We're the singers from, we're from South Phoenix. Prof is from South Phoenix. I'm from South Phoenix. So when we wanted to make sure that we, since we're coming from the same area, from the same hood, we want to make sure this means a lot to us coming from South Phoenix. Like, this is 3 artists coming from that area that we grew up, from, that we're all coming together, we're collabing together. And I feel like that was just like, man, that I love that energy. I love that we're all coming together. That we're all, we know what it's like. We're from the same area. We know how it is to be an artist. We had so much to relate to. And I love that when we can relate, and express ourselves and we get it. So that's what I love about it. And working with him was just honestly an honor.
Yeah. And it's, that type of mentality has worked before. It worked in South Central. It's worked in, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Some of these bands have similar experiences and make great music together.
Yeah.
Do you work in, are you working on an album, or do you mostly like working with singles or maybe an EP?
Eventually, honestly, I would like to put out an album, because I feel like now I feel like I want to put myself out there with an album. I think people already heard me enough to get to know my style now. I think people know how my approach is. They know how I sound. They know what I'm going to say. So now I'm just thinking maybe I need to do an album to the point where people can listen to, like, man, that album, like I heard that from, this song or this song from the first song to the last song. Like, I think I want to experience that now rather than like, oh, I heard your song, or yeah, I listened to your new song. I want to hear people to say, I heard your album. Your album's a body of work. It sounds like you did hard work on that album. So I think that's my next step. And I would love to do it. I haven't had an album yet, so I really want to do an album. I think that's my next thought for this year. Hopefully I can put it out by the end of this year before 2020.
All brand new songs.
All brand new songs, all brand new artists, different artists I can, old artists that I've done work with, and also new artists that I haven't had the chance to work with yet, stuff like that. Music that is like more personal would be nice to, I struggle with that. I mean, I don't struggle with it. I just haven't done it yet. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that. I think I want to do that. I think that's my next step and my next big project. Right now, I am working with the all-girl group called the Brown Girls Movement. Okay. And so it's just a bunch of like Latinas getting together who are like either, they're either rappers, they're have business owners, they all kinds of things that we're coming together, and doing the opposite of what people think, what like Chicanas are known for, like, oh, like they want to fight with each other, or they want to, bicker with each other. We're more of like a sisterhood that we want to come together, and put our music out there, and share it with the world and be creative with each other. And we just recently did a song together, called Go. And I'm really excited to see where this song's going to take us, honestly. So, that's right now what I'm currently working on. We're going to do, hopefully a new, music video to it, but the song will be coming out pretty shortly. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, feeding off of that, it seems like, you've, through your personal experiences, you fed into hip hop, mm-hmm. The creative side, and, you've created out of your personal experience into hip hop. Has it worked backward where hip hop has changed you or affected you in a different way where you wouldn't have otherwise felt it if there was no such thing as hip hop?
Oh yeah. Like, I feel like if I'd never pursued hip hop, I don't even know what type of person I would be. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'd probably be not the person I am today. Before I even pursued hip hop or pursued any of that, I was more of a shy girl. I didn't really want to express myself, or I didn't really want to, let people know who I am. I always wanted to hide and like, oh no, you don't need to know me. But doing music and doing hip hop pushed me out of my comfort zone. And then when you're out of your comfort zone, you get to experience a whole different level of just like, wow, I don't think I ever would have experienced this if I just stayed in my bubble, and not being. So that's again what hip hop did for me. It helped me express myself. It helped me take me out of my comfort zone, to, get into something that I never thought I would do in life, like rap. I never thought I was going to ever rap, like ever. So when I started to do that, it just made my mind just started thinking, well, you know what? You can do other things then. It's not just rap. You can do anything you put your mind to, when it comes to anything in life, you literally, do that. So honestly, without hip hop, like, I don't think I would have had that mentality. Like, I don't think I would have kept that mentality if it wasn't for hip hop.
So with that, with the way that it's affected you and the way that your work has affected other people, mm-hmm. I think, would you agree it's safe to say that hip hop is a legitimate form of art?
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm. On par with jazz and on par with, masterwork. Yeah. You think that's something that you also want to show other kids and
oh yeah,
and as far as they're feeling, it's not just booty dance club music,
right, mm-hmm.
It's a legit form of communications,
exactly,
if you will.
Exactly. It is, and it's a way to communicate with others. Eventually, like I would love to, show more kids that they could do anything with hip hop. Like if they want to continue, if they want to write poetry, if they want to, rap at such a young age, like do it. And I want to teach people, anybody, like just as long as you put your mind to it, you can do anything. Mine was hip hop. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different way of art of what takes them out of their comfort zone to make them successful. I mean, mine was hip hop, but that was something that I was able to get into that, now I look where I'm at, I'm not saying I'm not even big or anything, but it's somewhere where I'm so happy to be where I'm at right now today. Even speaking with you right now, like that means a lot to me that, you took your time out of your day to reach out to me to, do this. Yeah. So it's a big deal to me. And, as long as I can keep on, sharing my words and letting people know of what hip hop means to me and where it brought me to, I mean, I feel like my job is done,
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
I think I could keep you here a lot longer just sitting here talking about hip hop. But
Right.
I'm going to let you go because you probably got things to do with the rest of your life.
Yeah, no.
Well, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. And I haven't been to, but I look forward to seeing a live show pretty soon.
Yeah.
And checking out the next song when it drops and hits.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah.
All right. And we could hopefully later on bring you back and talk about how the career is going.
Yeah.
And see where you're at in a few months or wherever.
Yeah.
When the next album hits.
You're right. When the album hits, I'll be more than glad to sit and talk with you about it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Mahree. If you have any questions or concerns, please give us a call. Well, not yet. I don't have that phone number yet, but soon I'll have you guys give us a call. But you can drop a line at thecommonrule@gmail.com. Of course, follow us on the blog at thecommonrule.com. The Twitter is Restless Samurai, and the Instagram is, of course, The Common Rule. Thank you again so much. Have a great day, and enjoy your youth.